Part 26. Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhaya 11U. Chapter 253. Sukingyu looked at the mountainous area of Beijiazai and had various plans in her mind. Thought a lot. There is no comparison between growing grain in the mountains and growing grain in the fields. In fact, when it comes to mountain planting, growing fruit trees is better than growing food. First, the soil layer in mountainous areas is thin and retains little water. When nutrients are low, the grain yield cannot increase. But planting fruit trees is different, because the roots of trees are deeper than the roots of crops and are rooted firmly in the ground. Second, the economic benefits of growing fruit trees are higher than that of food. But now, if everyone doesn't have enough to eat, who will eat fruit? It was during the prosperous times, when everyone's pockets were so bulging that they had no money to spend, they ate and had fun. Let's talk about this mountainous area. It's not worth anything unless there are mines underneath. In the era she lived in, 1 acre of mountain land would be subsidized by hundreds of dollars in subsidy. Now in the Shuo dynasty, there are fewer people and more land. Even if we open up wasteland, no one will open up the mountainous areas. No one is cultivating the land outside, let alone the mountainous areas. Sukingneo felt that she had to buy more mountains or fields when she got rich. It should be right to buy a house or land if you have money. It's just that now we still have to think about how to increase production. She said she was growing grain, but she really had no idea how much yield she could get. In the Shuo dynasty, grain yields per mu were generally low. In the absence of pesticides and fertilizers, if you want to increase the yield per acre, it is no less than a revolution. Only rotation and intercropping can be done. The same piece of land is planted in different rotations to increase the overall yield per mu. According to the geographical environment of these villages, rice must be grown. Sukingyu arranged several types of rice according to the terrain and water resources, including rice, upland rice, and glutinous rice. At the foot of the mountain, where there is water, rice is grown. On the hillside, where there is insufficient water, drought-tolerant upland rice and glutinous rice are grown. When the rice is harvested in the fall, she plans to plant another crop of winter wheat. Wheat and rice have different growing seasons. As long as the arrangement is good, wheat can be planted after the rice is harvested in the autumn, and rice can be transplanted after the wheat is harvested in the summer. The same field can achieve 2 crops a year. She remembered that there was a record in the continuation of Wujun Tujing, the land in Wuzhong is fertile and the products are rich. Rice is planted after the wheat is harvested, and the rice is harvested twice a year. There are morning and evening rice. Moreover, the double cropping system of rice and wheat is mentioned in Chen Min's agricultural book and Wang Zhen's agricultural book. This proves that the southern region had experimented with the double cropping system of rice and wheat as early as the Tang and Song dynasties and achieved success. Done. Plant the spring rice first, and the autumn wheat will follow immediately. The Zongjai leader looked at her in confusion. I was standing there with him, looking at the layers of terraced fields in Beijiazai. He was in a good mood and wanted to hum a tune, but he was startled by the president's surprise. Young lady, do you have any good ideas? Zongjai master now wants to follow her every day as a little brother. It's good to listen to her teachings every day. Who asks someone to come up with a new update? If he was not careful and let Xi and Zhengjai run to the front, where would he put his old face? Gotta keep an eye on her. Keep an eye on him. Sukingyu glanced at Zongjai master and saw that his eyes were so intense that she felt a little panicked. I don't have any ideas. I just want to increase the yield of the crops in the field. The entire village, men, women, and children, are all working hard to level the terraces and do water conservancy. If the yield cannot be increased, they'll all die. Fortunately, she has 29 people from the village to mobilize. Otherwise, if Chunchang wanted to grow grain on such a large scale, he would have to wait 2 years. It's uncomfortable to think about such a big move, and if we can't collect food, we will end up spending a lot of money to buy food from outside. Food outside is now sold at sky-high prices, and it's hard to find a rare commodity. I'll be happy even if I only get £100 from 1 acre. The leader of Zongjai looked at the terraced fields in front of him, grinning almost to his ears. £100 per acre? Your pursuit is really low. It's not energy consuming enough. But she didn't plan to say any more. She planned to do some research first and then take a look. Moreover, the drainage ditches, water interception ditches, diversion ditches, etc. need to be worked on in more detail. Otherwise, if it rains heavily and landslides roll in, it won't be enough to flood the area. Just as he was about to leave, he paused again, feeling a little worried. If we start growing grain on this mountain, I'm afraid it will attract a lot of wild beasts. Zongjai leader thought it was a big deal and waved his hand. Don't worry about this. There are so many people in our village. It's just like arranging the village to be on duty. When the time comes, I will arrange daily patrols for old women and children to drive them away. And when the spring plowing is over, I will arrange for everyone to dig trenches at the border. Maybe we can catch a few wild boars that have thrown themselves into the trap. As long as you are happy. Sukingyu said, okay, you can just arrange the things in the village. It affects the food and drink for a year, so we can't ignore it. Don't worry. Uncle knows. After finishing the rice planting in the terraced fields on the mountain, the villagers' own land and the land in front of and behind their houses also began to be planted. The land in front of these houses and behind them is mostly sloping. But the slope is not big, gentle, and it has been cultivated for many years, so the soil is thick and fertile. On these lands, the villagers exploit every opportunity to plant crops, and together with the wild animals from the mountains, they can also feed their family. Nowadays, crops in the Shuo dynasty are single, with the 6 staple foods being rice, beans, bean sprouts, wheat, millet and millet. Sukingyu decided to use a variety of rice and wheat. Then, the villagers planted some crops in every possible way on the plains and in front of and behind their houses. Shu is a variety of soybeans. There are not many soybean varieties now, so Sukingyu arranged all the soybean seeds he got. Rice and millet are mostly grown in the north, so Sukingyu did not choose these two. That is, millet. It is suitable for planting in mountainous areas, and is drought-resistant, insect-resistant, and has a short growing season. Sukingyu allows everyone to find ways to use various methods. The spring plowing here has not yet been completed, and Painian took people to see the progress of the market town. When he arrived, not only did Manager Li follow him, but so did Ma Mingwen. Sukingyu was surprised. Godfather. Ma Mingwen nodded towards her with a smile. What are you doing? If you don't fight with others, don't overthrow Shuo Chao, are you going to hide from the world? Painian laughed when he saw her surprised look. Your godfather was passing by and was summoned by my letter. I heard that you built a market town in the mountains, so he came with me to have a look. It was probably about the tea, Master Pei told his godfather. Speaking of market towns, Sukingneo was a little embarrassed. I just do it casually. I want to live in seclusion in the mountains, but I don't want to be too isolated. The transportation in the mountains is inconvenient and there is no place to buy things, which makes people angry, so I built a small market so that everyone can exchange some things with each other. Extra stuff from home. Before Ma Mingwen could say anything, Manager Li joked, I heard that your market town is so impressive. You also bought a big shop in Renzhou City. Madame Su is planning to expand it? Su Qingzhao rolled her eyes at him, what's the big deal? I just want to transport Renzhou's daily groceries back to the mountains, and then transport the wild products out of the mountains. Yes, you just want to make some money to support your son. Manager Li laughed. After hearing this, Painian remembered what she had said before, that Lu Bachan was worried that a pot of gold would not be enough to support his son, and he immediately burst out laughing. He even looked at Manager Li and smiled. Ma Mingwen also raised his lips. I wonder if you have also heard the story of his apprentice who was worried about raising his son. Where's Xiaobao? It's in the stockade. When the master asked about Xiaobao, Xiaoduzi jumped out immediately. Sister-in-law, I'll go and hold him. Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhajiao 11U. Chapter 254. When Xiaobao was brought in, Xiaobao still remembered his grandfather who took him to ride a big horse, and happily reached out to him, ride a horse. Ma Mingwen was amused and said, horses can't run in this mountain. Next time, take Xiaobao outside for a ride. The group of people entered the village and walked around. Halfway up the mountain, looking at the terraces below, Ma Mingwen and Painian stared closely at the terraces, but did not move their feet. Su Qingyu thought they would say something, but they didn't. During lunch, Zongjai leader and his two assistants ran over in fear and accompanied him to eat together. Ma Mingwen said something about the defense of the village. He said that the gate of Beijia village was well built and the trenches were well dug, but there were still some shortcomings. Su Qingyu and Master Zhong immediately took out their notebooks and wrote them down immediately. Sure enough, professional people still need to do the work that comes here. Professionals will know where there are loopholes once they take a look. Zongjai leader nodded while remembering. Su Qingyu took a look at his notebook and saw, well, there were circles, crosses, and dots, and she didn't know what he was writing down. After so long, Xiu has learned many words, but he is still the same. The leader of Zongjai knew what Su Qingyu meant at a glance, and glared at her. How old was he? He couldn't learn as well as young people. What was there to say? Besides, he just needs to remember and understand. The small notebook closed with a snap. After the meal, the group of people didn't stay too long and headed towards the market town. Along the way, they saw that many villages had built terraces. The terraces were crowded with people, and everyone was busy with spring plowing. Painian and Ma Mingwen felt their hearts surging. When they arrived at the market town and looked down from the mountainside, Su Qingyu and Zongjai leader were very excited, but Paima and Manager Li had no reaction at all. Also, people who came from the imperial capital, this market town in the mountains is nothing more than child's play in their eyes. After looking at the market town, there are 2 rows of 2-story buildings lined up, a wide and straight street in front of the door, and then looking at inns, restaurants, and other houses with unknown purposes, everything is there. There is also a market town gate and a place for defense. The planning and design looks like a small town. You did a good job, Painian praised her approvingly. Manager Li also looked at her and said yes secretly. Asked her, you all come from different villages to trade with each other. You can go home after selling. Why is the inn so big? You've seen it along the way. It's not a close journey. Beijia village is quite close to here. If other villages come here and arrive here before dawn in the morning, I'm afraid they will have to go back in the dark at night. This is a big mountain, there are a lot of wild animals here, wouldn't it be nice to sleep there for one night and come back the next day? I don't plan to charge a lot of money anyway. Painian nodded, this is good. It is convenient for the villagers to travel and rest. Then what are the houses next to your inn used for? Manager Li asked again. It's a bathroom, you probably don't understand when I say sauna. Bathroom, the group of people all looked at her. Build a bathroom in the market town? Never heard of that. Yes. Think about it, after climbing several mountains to get here, you are sweating profusely, your body smells sour, and no one is paying attention to the goods you sell, right? If there was a place where you could take a hot bath, and someone would rub your back and wash your hair, you wouldn't have to do anything but just lie down and wait on you, and it wouldn't cost 2 or 3 coppers, Wouldn't you be willing to go in? Of course I'm happy to do that, Xiaoduzi jumped up immediately. Painian, Ma Mingwen, and others nodded after hearing this. This bathroom is very thoughtful. Sister-in-law, what you said has made me itchy all over now. Why is no one serving you now? Su Qinjiao smiled, it hasn't opened yet. It won't open until we are busy with spring plowing. And I still have to discuss the store matters with my godfather and Mr. Pei. Then you can discuss it and I'll walk around by myself. Manager Li was very knowledgeable and looked around under the leadership of Master Zongjai. Pei Nian and Ma Mingwen followed Su Qingyu to the shop she had left for them. There were no stools, so everyone sat on the floor. I just want to discuss with my godfather and Mr. Pei how to collect money in this shop. I have reserved a shop for a village. Should I charge transaction fees from them in the future, or how to calculate it? In the Shuo dynasty, there were many warlords all over the country. Whoever conquered the territory almost belonged to him. Now the central government basically has no ability to control local governments. These 28 villages were snatched back from the bandits with Ma Mingwen's help in fighting them off. 28 villages jointly voted for him, which meant that this mountain was his territory. But as a person in charge, this territory falls under Pei Nian's jurisdiction. These two are big bosses in front of her, and she is very satisfied to be able to make some small money with them. We still need to hear their thoughts on this matter. Before Pei Nian and Ma Mingwen came, they had indeed thought about how to get some money from the mountains. But when they entered the village, saw the terraced fields, and saw everyone busy with spring plowing, and imagined the scene of the autumn harvest, with warehouses full of grain, they were filled with excitement. Some ideas have changed. Money and other things are not as attractive as food. Qing Lao, have you ever estimated how much grain a village can harvest this year? Su Qingyu shook her head, I can't estimate it. This terraced field has just been opened, so I don't know how fertile it is, and its yield per mu is far from comparable to that of fields. In addition, it is a mountainous area after all. Will it be harmed by wild animals? Will it cause other disasters due to water and soil problems? For example, if we plant this year, can we plant again the next year? Do we need to cultivate the land? Don't know yet. Seeing the two of them sinking, he added, but I asked Manager Li to find some grain seeds suitable for planting in mountainous areas. If they are more refined, we should be able to harvest some grain. Pei Nian nodded after listening. According to what I learned before, in my farm, the yield of the upper grade fields is more than 400 acres, and the yield of the lower grade fields is about 200 to 300 kilograms. This mountainous area is probably very good if it has half of the lower grade fields. So few. A farm farmed so intensively has so little grain? Su Qingyu said, it turns out that the grain they grow on the gentle slope in the village can weigh about 1 to 200 kilograms per acre. Well, that's pretty good. Finally, the two discussed it. Ma Mingwen wants 10% of the food in the 28 villages as military rations, and will leave a team to help Su Qingyu maintain public security. Pei Nian also wants 10% of the grain as local tax. The Shuo dynasty never collected taxes from the mountain people, not even a small tax. Because they had no land and had demographic difficulties, they had not even collected a small tax. Now that Pei Nian wants to collect land taxes, will the mountain people react? In the past, everyone hid in the mountains and relied on the mountains to eat and be self-sufficient. But now that the terraced fields have been opened, do I have to pay land tax? Pei Nian glanced at her. He said slowly, explain to the village owners that the fields opened in the village can be allocated to each household according to the village's household register and dinkow. If you receive an acre of land, you will have to pay 10% of the land tax and 10% of the military rations. If you don't pay it, you cannot receive the land or cultivate it. Su Qingyu nodded. The mountain people do not have mountain deeds in their hands, so there is nothing wrong with opening the mountain land to grow grain and pay land tax. If you buy a mountain deed from the government, you still have to pay local taxes, and you also have to pay the money to purchase the mountain deed. That's fine. If you don't pay, you won't farm, and you will continue to do what you did before. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhaya 11U. Chapter 255. The matter was settled. Read. They don't need food money anymore, and they no longer participate in shop trading. It is said that this market town in the mountains is run by Sukingyu, and the profits also belong to her. Originally, Sukingyu wanted to ask them about the price of selling the shop and split the money from selling the shop among the three parties, but it seemed that the two of them only wanted food. He probably changed his mind after seeing the food. Whether it's Painian or Ma Mingwen, one needs food to make military rations, and the other needs to govern the place and also need to store food. For them, it should also be a surprise. Ma Mingwen asked Sukingyu some of her thoughts, and Sukingyu also told her frankly. Her initial idea was to help Ma Mingwen take over the 28 villages and reassure them that there were people taking care of them and no one would give up on them, so that they could live in peace and that no more bandits would come and plunder them. Then the extra resources in the village are circulated among the villages to meet everyone's daily needs through mutual trading. Then bring the daily things that everyone needs to buy from outside and gather them in one place for everyone to buy, providing a convenient place for supply and demand, that's all. She doesn't want to use the money she earns from growing grain to buy grain from outside at high prices, and wants to solve the problem internally. Unexpectedly, the stall spread all of a sudden, and both Ma Mingwen and Painian noticed this piece of cake. Since you have a big stall now, if the outside world knows that you produce food here, I'm afraid there will be no peace. Yes, Painian nodded. If there are lawless people outside the 28 villages, I'm afraid you won't be able to deal with them. I'll leave a team for you to help you guard this market town, and also do other things at your command, otherwise you're afraid no one uses it. After hearing this, Painian nodded and said, that's right. Neither your godfather nor I thought that you would lay out the stalls like this. This is like a small and medium-sized town. No matter how many people there are, it will be as big as one you have to go to the county. Someone needs to help you guard it, otherwise your godfather and I will be heartbroken if someone picks the fruit. Sukingyu agreed. But when I thought about 50 people having to eat, drink, and clothe themselves, and also have to deal with their accommodation problems. What's more important is that I don't know whether I will obey the restrictions in the future. If you don't listen, it will be a bit of a headache. Godfather, do you think I can control this team? She was a little worried. She didn't want to worry so much, she just wanted to develop the mountain economy and make a little money. Painian also realized this problem and glanced at Ma Mingwen. Ma Mingwen said to Sukingyu, don't worry, the people your godfather gives you will choose loyal subordinates for you. Don't worry, you can use them. You are my daughter and their master. They don't dare to respect you as much as they respect me. 2 minds. All right. Then try to see it. Besides, she couldn't refuse, and there was no better way. Don't worry, your godfather and I didn't expect you to take out the grain fields. This is different from before. Your godfather and I will not treat you lightly. Painian told him that the relationship was so important that neither Ma Mingwen nor he would take it lightly. The three of them discussed some things again before settling on the matter. Manager Li walked around and came in and said, Ms. Su, I've decided on the small building next door to you. I'll send someone over in 2 days. How much money do you think the shop will cost? Sukingyu looked at him, there was nothing here, the flesh hadn't even come off, yet everyone wanted to cut him. It's very cheap to sell it to others, but it's not the same price to sell it to you. Don't, we are all so familiar, it's not easy to kill someone who is familiar with you. Finally, several people discussed it, and Sukingyu also listened to their opinions and decided on a 2-story building with a price of 100 taels. This price can be accepted by each village, and it can be spread to a price that every household can accept. Manager Li also paid for the small building next to hers. Finally, the matter was settled, and everyone rushed to Beijiazai at night. I simply freshened up and went to sleep. The next day, Pei Nian, Ma Mingwen, Manager Li, and others got up early and left the village. After Suking Nao saw them off, she continued to work on spring plowing. Now we can't take it lightly. The two big guys are eyeing it. You can't do it casually. Just after busy spring plowing, the 50-man team Ma Mingwen gave her entered the stockade. This caused panic among the villagers in Beijiazai. After learning that they were here to protect them, they were relieved and ran out to watch. Sukingyu met them one by one. The leader is Ma Xian, who was his godfather's former domestic servant and general. He is the same age as his godfather. He said that he has served him since childhood and is the most loyal. He is also very capable in his work, so let him lead this team. Ma Xian originally followed Ma Mingwen on his expeditions, but he was a little unhappy when he learned that he would be sent to the mountains. Later, after Ma Mingwen told him that there might be a lot of grain hidden in the mountains, he knew that the matter was serious, so he happily accepted the order and led the team into the mountains. Miss. Hello, Uncle Xian. After saying hello, I followed Ma Xian and saw the team of 50 people one by one. The 50 people were divided into 10 corps, each with a corps leader. There are not many, they all obey Ma Xian's orders, and now Sukingyu is added to the list. Suking Nao couldn't remember so many people, she only remembered 10 corps commanders, and the others only remembered familiar faces. Although her godfather said she didn't need to worry about these people's salaries, there were still a lot of things to worry about. There is no place to live yet. First we entertain them in Beijiazai. Suking may discuss the management and daily life of the team with Ma Xian. After the discussion, she asks Yuan to take the people to the market town and let them build their own barracks. She also asks Yuan to go to the new camp to call Xiangshang over. Xiangshang came with Yuan the next day. Suking Mei directly instructed him, "You and Yuan go to Fengcheng." Last time, Ling Fenggu said that there was a batch of medicinal materials that needed to be sold urgently. You two should first go to Jianantang to find Dr. Xiao Song to sell the medicine, and second, get some medicinal seeds from him. Third, you two should see if there are some strong laborers willing to sell their own and buy some back. Now there are not enough people. In the future, we will have to arrange people to guard the market town and the village. There are still many jobs in the fields. Pay special attention to those who have skills. Yes. Before going out, let Wei Fukane keep an eye on the progress of the village construction, and then arrange the work of tea tree cuttings before leaving. Xiangshang agreed. After the two left, Suking Mei sat in the chair without coming back to her senses. Why are there so many things? She just wants to live in peace and seclusion. Suking Liu quietly handed her a cup of tea. "King Mei, have some tea." "Sister." Suking Mei took it and took a sip. "Now there is no shortage of tea at home. There is plenty for entertaining guests or drinking by yourself. The same is true in Beijiazai. Every family has no shortage of tea now. In the past, everyone either drank plain water or did not boil water. They scooped up a handful of mountain spring water outside and drank it. Mountain spring water is sweet, and Suking Mei often uses it to make tea, but she always tells her family to boil it before drinking." Seeing that she was so tired, Suking Liu sat aside and watched her with some heartache. "Madam, she has a tender heart." Author, Bha 11U. Chapter 256. Sukinglia walked up behind her and rubbed her forehead, looking at how tired you are. I can't even help you. Sister, you have helped me a lot. I used to be so busy that I couldn't take care of Xiaobao, but now I take good care of him. In the past, when I left, I would feel worried and not feel at ease outside. When I came back and saw Xiaobao looking unhappy, I felt guilty. Now that you and Yaya are with me, I don't know how happy he is throughout the day. Sister, I can't help you with anything else. Besides, Xiaobao is very well behaved. He is easy to take care of. Sukingyu smiled. Her little baby is very sensible and caring. Thinking of what Sukingyu asked Yang Shang to bring to Wei Fucane just now, she thought about it and asked, Sister, did you bring something to Wei Fucane? Sukingliu's men paused. After a long while, he said yes, he is a man, and there is no woman around to take care of him. There are a lot of cloths at home now, and I thought there was no one to help him do it, so I sewed 2 spring clothes for him. He is me and my great benefactor. Without him, I wouldn't be able to see you. Sukingyu thought for a while and said, I heard Si Yuan say before that he told Si Yuan that if you don't dislike it, he wants to marry you. I didn't agree. Why? I'm married and have a child. He is also married and has children. But his wife and children are gone, he has nothing to worry about, and now he is alone. Sister. Sukingyu pulled her over, Yaya is not a burden to you. If others dislike Yaya, let Yaya follow me in the future. Sukinglia shook her head, he doesn't dislike Yaya, I just. Sukingyu looked at her hesitant and struggling look and sighed. Her sister Sukinglia was a traditional woman of this era, and she had followed Wei Fucane on his escape. According to the people of the time, their innocence was gone, and they seemed to have no choice but to become a couple. Before Wei Fucane went to Xinjianzai, he also told Sukinglia that he would marry her as long as she was willing. But Sukinglia obviously felt that she was not worthy of the other party. Sukingyu sighed secretly. She could tell that Wei Fucane was not from a farmer's family like them, but he didn't want to tell his specific origins, and Sukingyu didn't want to ask either. Just make sure he's harmless. As for whether he wants to stay in the mountains, that's up to him. But Sukinglia is her sister. She couldn't ignore it. Forget it, she couldn't say anything about the relationship between men and women, so let them just wait and see. Maybe my mind will change again after a while. Just like Bai Shu and Chiuer, when we see them in the village now, they are also in pairs. 2 days later, 28 village owners gathered in the town. Sukingyu set aside a place at the end of the street in the market town to build an office center, which serves as a place for daily office work, activities, and rest for village owners. This time everyone is gathered here, and Sukingyu wants to mobilize before the opening. When entering the market town, everyone saw a team of dozens of people building barracks on the gentle slope. As soon as they saw that he was from the military, everyone just looked at him from a distance and did not dare to get close. After learning that Ma Mingwen was sent to protect the market town and various villages, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Now I feel more at ease living here. There was a smile on his face, and he went up to say hello to others, thinking that when he went back, he would send someone to help build a house together. When we sat together, we talked about this before the meeting, saying that we would go back to various villages to mobilize laborers to help. Sukingyu doesn't care about this matter. After everyone sat down, Sukingyu told everyone that Painian and Ma Mingwen each wanted 10% of the food, and everyone started talking about it. Sukingyu looked at everyone below and organized some words in her mind. Originally, most of the crops were grown in the village, but now 20% of the crops were allocated. Sukingyu had prepared some words before, fearing some backlash. But before she could speak, everyone nodded and accepted. We didn't pay for the land deed, which means the land still belongs to others. We should pay grain taxes when growing grain, pay it to the court, and pay it to Master Ma and Master Pei. Master Pei also confiscated other taxes from us, which is extremely extreme. Okay. And Master Ma has sent people to protect us. That's right. It should be. The payment is not much, just 20%. In the past, when we grew grain for the landlords, we only got 40 to 50%. Sukingyu breathed a sigh of relief. I glanced down, worried that they were just talking about it, but I was afraid that it wouldn't be so easy to get over this hurdle in my heart. After all, no one had ever collected anything from the mountains before, and they had no acres of land, so they lived in the mountains by themselves, relying on the mountains to feed themselves. As soon as the food was grown, they came up to collect it. Master Pei said that the village owners should allocate acres of land according to the household size and population in the village. Those who do not want to pay the grain will not be allocated the land. It will remain the same as before. The village owners nodded one after another. This is a good idea. If you don't want to pay for food, just don't grow food. Still the same as before. If you want an acre of land, pay the grain. Only by giving up can you gain. Just right. Sukingyu waited for everyone to stop talking and then said, Master Ma and Master Pei have an argument, they only have to be conquered once a year. Once a year. How many more levies are planned for that year? If the levy is repeated several times, I'm afraid no one will be able to farm the land, and there will be no shortage of food in the mountains. Although her voice was soft, Suqing had a good ear. When the loud discussion died down, Sukingyu said, you two adults only collect crops once a year, but our land may not be planted only once a year. Plant more than once a year. How many more times can I plant it? The rice has just been planted. Once the grain has been planted, it can't be pulled out to plant vegetables. The old god, the leader of the Zongjai village, was listening. Sure enough, the president was still on the side of Beijiazai, and he was the only one to talk about such important matters. He curled his lips happily. A look of pride. Bokun, the leader of Muhua village, didn't know about his urine properties. He looked at Sukingyu and then at Cyprus, bumped him with his elbow, and signaled to him with his eyes, what's going on? Bei's Hong just raised his eyebrows and ignored him. Baikun was so angry that he gritted his teeth. This old guy was hiding something good again. As for Sukingyu, the rice has just been planted, and she also wants to wait to see the harvest. But after seeing the reactions of the village owners, they were relatively enlightened. They were afraid that the villagers would backlash and ruin the food issue for her, Mr. Pei and her godfather, so they spoke up. When the rice is harvested in autumn, we will arrange wheat planting so that one field can be harvested twice. If you two adults still need food, they will buy it from us with money. As soon as everyone heard this, they immediately started talking, and the voices were louder than before. Sukingyu ignored it, only thinking that she had bought grain seeds from Manager Li before, but Painian and Ma Mingwen took 20% of it, and they didn't know how much more could be sold to him. If it can be harvested twice a year, it can be evenly distributed for him. The villagers will be able to have enough to eat after one more season of grain income. When everyone heard that one field could produce 2 crops a year, they immediately felt relieved. Now I can levy an additional 20%. Excess grain can also be sold for money. Everyone had a smile on their face. President, can you really get 2 fruits a year? Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhaya 11U. Chapter 257. When the village owners heard that the fields could produce 2 crops a year, they all asked questions. Sukingyu shook her head. We don't know yet, but in theory it is possible. We have to wait until the rice is harvested in the autumn to see. Please go back to the village owners and make sure to appease the people in the village, do a good job of explaining, and keep the food in the fields regular. Arrange people to patrol and check to prevent birds and beasts from damaging it. Okay, okay. We'll make arrangements when we get back. How can birds and beasts eat what we have worked so hard to cultivate? No way. After talking about food, let's talk about shops. There is a 2-story building in each village. You can buy it outright for 100 taels, or you can choose to rent it for 1 tael or 1 month. Of course, you can neither buy nor rent it. Not buying or renting. How can that work? Everyone, I look at you, you look at me. Of course it's a buyout. Today it belongs to our village, but we don't know who it will belong to tomorrow. It's only 100 taels, we have money, buy it. The opinions were surprisingly unanimous. Now there is no shortage of money in every village. They can sell tea with 10% of the money. Every household has at least a few taels of silver in hand, and many times more. Sukingnao didn't want them to pay on credit. Since she wanted to buy, she had to pay in cash. If you don't hand it in today, you must hand it in before opening next time. Then it was a matter of drawing lots to choose the shop. She caught them all by herself, it was very fair, there was no need to say who she favored. She doesn't want to set up tiered prices based on location. They all have the same price, and they can be bought wherever they are. The revenue of a shop is closely related to the location of the shop. If one is at the entrance of an alley and the other is in a deep alley, the operating income will of course be different. Of course, if your goods are good and your service is good, that's another matter. Everyone happily drew lots as if it were a fun game. After choosing a shop, everyone gathered together to see where everyone was. Are our 2 families together? That's good. Are we so far away? No, no. The 28 village owners naturally have their own friendships. For example, Baijon and Baikun were on good terms, but their shops were a bit far apart. Sukingyu took a look and saw that everyone was still happy, as if they didn't realize the impact of store location on business income. She didn't talk much. It seems that no one has ever run a shop before, it is their first time, and it is normal that they are not aware of this problem. Just don't fight in the future. Next, we discussed the opening of various shops, business operations in the market town, and personnel arrangements. The personnel arrangement was still the same as when the market town was built before. The 28 village owners, 4 people in a group, were as planned before. Sukingnao made this market town open every day like a town, instead of a market in a village that has small markets every 5 or 10, or odd and even small markets and large markets. As a fixed town, it is open every day and is convenient for villages farther away. Then someone needs to manage and maintain the stockade. The 28 village owners should work harder and get to work. She will also arrange for people to come to Xinjianzai. As for business, after all, each shop pays money, and the shop belongs to each village. Everything inside is decorated in a unified style, and the doors, windows, and shelves are all ready. Sukingyu doesn't care how each village distributes goods, operates operations, and arranges manpower. The opening time is set for 5 days. After all, each village still has to arrange personnel to arrange goods. She had just arranged things this time, and the people sent by Manager Li came to the market town. 3 people came and brought a lot of goods. The shop next door to Sukingyu was immediately laid out. All kinds of daily groceries began to be put on the shelves immediately. This action immediately attracted the village leaders to watch and learn. The shopkeeper under Manager Li is named Ding. He is about 35 years old and looks very capable and experienced. Naturally, he knew that he was going to do business with the village owners next, and he had to get his goods from the village owners, so he naturally smiled and went up to make friends with the village owners warmly. Sukingnao said hello, ignored their exchange of greetings, and went straight to find Ma Xian. Uncle Xian, how's it going? Miss Ma Xian came to greet her. There are many people, and the building will be built quickly. In a few days, we will be able to move in. Sukingyu followed him in and took a look. She felt relieved when she saw that the house, practice room, kitchen, warehouse, and woodshed were all arranged in place. How long can these grains last? When they came, they all carried provisions into the mountains, and Sukingyu also sent a lot of them. But the food for 50 people consumes a lot of money. I can still eat it for half a month. Sukingyu nodded, okay, I'll send someone to deliver it. Thank you, miss. After the house is built, we are also going to open some land on the slope to grow some vegetables and grain. We usually let everyone hunt in the mountains, and we will also save some for Miss and Mingwen. He also has a lot of expenses now. Uncle Xian, I will arrange these later, so I won't bother my godfather. Ma Xian thought for a while and agreed. But he still insisted on reclaiming land to grow vegetables and grain. Hey, it's okay. I took a look. I'm afraid there's nothing important at ordinary times. The personnel are divided into 2 batches and alternate with each other. Those who have free time to grow some vegetables and food are also busy. In the past, we also trained for half a day in the military camp. It takes half a day to grow vegetables and grain. If something really happens, I will speak to the lady. Okay, if you're too busy, Uncle Xian, just ask. The opening was about to begin, but Sukingneo did not return to Beijiazai and stayed in the market town. Returned to his yard. In addition to leaving a shop for herself, Sukingyu also left a small courtyard for her family to rest with and to entertain guests like Painian, her godfather, and manager Li. The things in the courtyard have been brought in and laid out by people from Xinjianzai these days, but it was still empty a few days ago. Fire pits were built in the main room and the side room. Everything in the kitchen is ready and ready to be fired at any time. She ignored it, sat down and began to think about the people and management of the market town. 28 village leaders were on duty, so she had to send her own people there. Who should she send? Xiang Shang? Wei Fucane? I wonder if Wei Fucane has ever opened a shop? And since we want to examine his character, we shouldn't let him stay too far away from Sukingyu. How about letting Xiang Zhen go? Xiang Zhen is older, experienced and seasoned. He is stationed in the market town, so he should be able to chat with the village owners, and he should be able to handle things there. Xiang Shang asked him to run errands for her. But the village leaders can't let them do their usual duties in vain. They are all so old. It would be a bit shameful not to pay some wages. Where does that money come from? The money she got from selling the shop was 2,800 taels, which only offset half of the money she spent to build the town. There are also inns, bathhouses, and restaurants that all need to be run by people. Where will the manpower come from? And there is another important issue. She let manager Li's people in, and shopkeeper Ding went directly to collect tea from various villages in the market town and collect mountain goods. As a middleman, she makes no profit. How much will be lost this year? Vomiting blood. How much income can the market town bring to her? Can you bring her tens of thousands taels a year? She's going crazy. Did she do something stupid? For her convenience and everyone's convenience, did you finally give away the money you got? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhaya 11U. Chapter 258. Shopkeeper Ding seemed to know what Sukingyu was thinking and approached her. Read. The two exchanged pleasantries for a few words, and shopkeeper Ding expressed to her what Master Pei and Manager Li meant. Master Pei and Manager Li want Madame Su to hand over the tea leaves to us. After all, the stakes are very high. Our caravan and Madame Su are here to collect the mountain goods. Manager Li knows that Madame Su has bought a shop in Renzhou, and Mr. Pei also wants to revitalize Renzhou's economy and people's livelihood. Our caravan has collected the mountain goods and is not in Renzo or nearby. There is no conflict between selling the goods in the county and shipping them to other places. Sukingyu thought about it in her heart and nodded. If she can't make a profit on the tea, she won't make any money. She can just grow and sell tea. She wants to sell mountain goods to other places, and she really doesn't have the manpower. Leaving Renzo to her was considered compensation. She still has many things to sell to Manager Li in the future. It's not easy to offend people. If you can't collect so much mountain goods, you will make a lot less from the price difference. But she can transport less than half of it to Renzo City to sell it, and the price can be higher. Manager Li said that in order to compensate MRSU, our caravan will find everything needed in the village from now on and sell it in the market town. If MRSU needs anything to buy or has any errands to do, just ask. Sukingyu glanced at her and brought over the daily groceries needed by everyone in the village to compensate me. Aren't you guys trying to make another round of money? It's like shipping it over, selling it to me at the purchase price, and I'll sell it. After shopkeeper Ding finished speaking, he also felt that this compensation seemed a bit unkind. There are not many caravans that can travel normally outside now. If you and the village need anything, we will do our best to find it for MRSU and transport it to this mountain. 6. They don't know how much purchasing power there is in this mountain and whether they can make money. It's just for Lady Su's sake. Sukingyu seemed to know his concerns. Don't worry, the mountain people are not short of money. Just bring the oil, salt, soy sauce, and vinegar for daily use. Do you have any salt? I just saw that there seems to be no salt on your shelves. Yes, we have salt. We have also brought the salt, but we haven't put it on the table just now. Just have salt. Don't forget that there are all kinds of things available there, and you have to go out to the mountains to buy salt. The two agreed, and shopkeeper Ding also said goodbye and left. Sukingyu sighed, if you want to get convenience from others and also want to make other people's money, how can such a good thing happen? One must be sacrificed, one must be given up. How can you have your cake and eat it too? Sukingyu quickly thought about it. He called Xiang Zhen over and gave him instructions to stay in the market town from now on and be responsible for the operation of the shops and the market town. Xiang Zhen responded. He also gave her many suggestions. Sukingyu wrote them down one by one, planning to gradually improve them. Xiang Zhen was also asked to transfer people from Xinjianzai to take care of the inn, restaurant, and bathing room. She also asked people to move all the goods she had prepared from Xi and Geng village to the shop. After giving instructions, he went to see Ma Xi and again discuss with him the allocation and arrangement of personnel. After finishing all this, they sent people back to Beijiazai to pick up Sukingyu, Xiaobao, and others. She hopes that when it opens, they can all come and experience the lively scene of the market town in the mountains. Xiaobao was once again carried in a basket and walked through the mountains. He was extremely excited. The two of them stood in the basket with Yaya, being carried by adults, looking around, feeling that everything was new. When he saw Sukingyu, he pulled her left and right and told her about the situation in the mountains. Mom, there is a monkey. It's jumping up and down in the tree. Xiaobao saw it. Wow, mother didn't even see it. Xiaobao saw it, it's amazing. When Xiaobao heard his mother praising him, he immediately raised his head and smiled happily. He is better than mother. Yaya was not to be outdone. Second aunt, I also saw a big snake coiled on the tree with its tongue sticking out. The uncles beat it to death and said they would make snake soup for dinner at night. The little girl is so brave, she was not even scared to cry. Still thinking about the snake soup at night. Sukingyu shivered cleverly and looked at Sukingyu and others. Where did you come from? Why did you encounter a snake? Everyone is used to walking on that road, and there are basically no animals approaching on the road. Even on that road, I don't know where it came from. I was afraid that I would bite someone in the future, so I beat him to death, Ziyuan said. It was also the first time for Lu and Ruyi to come to the market town. Before it was time to eat, Sukingyu took them for a walk in the market town. Mom, is this our home too? Sukingyu lowered her head to look at Xiaobao, smiled and touched his hair with a small knot tied up. This is a place where things are sold. In the future, if we are in need of anything, we can come here to buy it. Seeing his curious expression, he took him to shopkeeper Ding's shop to have a look. In shopkeeper Ding's shop, the shelves are full of everything, including daily miscellaneous items and food. There are even pieces of cloth. Mother Lu, her daughter, and Sukinglia were immediately attracted. Xiaobao and Yaya were so surprised that they opened their mouths wide open at the sight of so many things. The two siblings ran over to take a look, hand in hand. Mother, mother, what is this? Xiaobao pointed at a round object and turned to ask her. Don't touch it with your hands. This is a brown sugar cake. Make the brown sugar into a pound-shaped cake, which is convenient and easy to hold. Sukingyu also came forward to take a look. Shopkeeper Ding came over and said, it's okay, he can touch it as he pleases. This is something that needs to be entered. He cannot be allowed to touch it casually. As soon as Yaya heard this, she grabbed Xiaobao's hand and stood further away. Shopkeeper Ding saw that the two children were cute, so he took a small hammer and cracked open a piece of sugar cake, grabbed two pieces and handed them to the two children. Xiaobao and Yaya looked at her. Thank you, uncle, quickly. Thank you, uncle. After saying that, he took it. You're welcome. So cute. Mom, it's sweet. Second aunt, so sweet. The two siblings licked and laughed happily, very happy. My mother bought this piece of sugar cake and will make brown sugar rice cakes for you when she goes back. Okay, okay. Eat cake. Sister, the cake is delicious. Really? My sister hasn't even eaten it. You can eat it when you make it? Before this was done, the siblings almost drooled as they imagined the delicious food in their mouths. Laughing so hard that you can't even see your eyes. There were still many things missing in the courtyard, so Lu, Ruyi, and Sukinglia bought a lot of things from the store and moved them back. Then he went to his own shop to look at it. Xiangzhen is leading people to decorate the shop. It's not yet the season for harvesting mountain goods, so Sukingnao doesn't have much to display. It was just that she brought some sour bamboo shoots, dried bamboo shoots, pickles, kimchi, dried vegetables and other things that Lu's mother, daughter, and sister had pickled. There are also some fungi collected by Guo with the women in Xinjianzai. There is also a small area where some medicinal materials collected by Ling Fenggu's family are placed. Sukingyu's main focus on this shop is not to sell takeout, but to sell inward. After receiving the goods, they will make them. Some of them will be sold to Manager Li, and some of them will be sold in Renzhou. Of course she plans to make the flagship product of her shop, but she hasn't finished it yet. Then I plan to leave a space in the shop for the doctor. There are also independent pharmacies. She still has several shops. Unfortunately, the doctor she was looking for was nowhere to be seen. It made her sad. Look for it slowly. Not in a hurry either. You have to eat one bite at a time and take one step at a time. After returning to her small courtyard, she had just finished eating when she heard Ma Xian's men guarding the village gate come to tell her that there were several people who wanted to see her. Want to see her? Who? Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhjiaoye 11U. Chapter 259. Sukingyu went out to take a look and saw 7 or 8 men standing there awkwardly holding something. Read. My lady. My lady. Sukingyu was embarrassed. What is this name? Call me Mrs. Suk. Ms. Suk. Ms. Suk. Sukingyu nodded. Looking at them, "Where are you from, which village are you from?" Hearing this title, he knew that he was not from the 28 villages. Several people looked at each other. "We are from Hisong village." We are not from your village, but we are also in this mountain, not far from you." After speaking, he looked at Sukingyu cautiously, fearing that she would chase them away. Another man said, We don't have a village name, and we live in this mountain." Others also told their respective origins. There were people from several neighboring villages who came together to inquire about the news, and there were also mountain people who didn't even have the names of the villages and lived in this big mountain. They all heard that there was a market town in this mountain, so they came all the way to find out the news. Sukingyu nodded towards them. "You came to me, what's the matter?" Several people looked at each other, and one of them said, "We found out that this market town was built by 28 joint villages. It is like a town inside, selling salt and daily groceries, and also collecting our things. We just come and take a look." "Yep. We are not affiliated with you. We also want to buy salt. We also want to sell some mountain products for money. I wonder if you will accept them." After speaking, he looked at Sukingyu expectantly. Sukingyu smiled at them and reassured them, nodding, "I won't chase you away. You are welcome to buy and sell mountain products. There are shops that collect mountain products. You can pick them up and sell them, or you can rent a temporary shop and sell them yourself." The group of people all smiled and breathed a sigh of relief quietly. "Let's do this. I'll have someone take you to see it and introduce it to you so that you can introduce it to your villagers when you go back." Okay, thank you, Mrsu, thank you, Mrsu. Sukingyu called Si Yuan to lead them over. Before leaving, the 7 or 8 people put down the things in their arms. "These are some mountain products picked at home and left to Mrsu." Sukingyu waved her hand. No, you can all take it and sell it. There will be some over there." It's okay. I still have it at home. We'll pick it up and sell it next time." He put it down and ran away. Looking at the 7 or 8 parcel baskets on the ground, Sukingyu couldn't laugh or cry. Called Lu and Sukingyu to come over and take them in. After taking it to the house, everyone opened it and saw that there were wild fruits, vegetables, mushrooms, pheasant eggs, and some biltong. Everyone sighed. The people in this mountain are really simple. Yes, they were afraid that we would drive them away, so they brought something with them. And the 7 or 8 men, walking in the market town, also quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Mrsu did not drive them away. I just saw the few people guarding the market town, and I was shocked by them. You can tell at a glance that they are soldiers, and the way they look at them is terrifying. Their legs are still shaking now. The group of people followed Si Yuan and looked at the inn's restaurants and bathrooms, feeling excited and happy at the same time. If I go back late from now on, there will still be a place to stay and food to eat. They had just asked, and it only cost 2 cents to stay in a bunkhouse for one night. A bowl of hot noodle soup only costs 2 or 3 cents. There is also a bathing room, where you can take a hot bath, wash your hair, and have someone rub your back for only 2 cents. They wanted to go in and wash themselves just after hearing the introduction. They all felt stinky. Unfortunately, they haven't opened for business yet. Then the group went to check out the temporary stalls. The stalls lined up in a row are clean and neat. It's not expensive to rent it for a day. It's only 5 cents a day, so they can afford it, or a few people can rent it together. I couldn't help but feel excited. When we returned to the main street, we were shocked when we saw 2 rows of 2-story shops. This is so beautiful. It's on the 2nd floor. It was the first time for 7 or 8 men to see such a beautiful small building. They didn't know how to describe it, they just thought it looked good. It's wide and grand, the hall is high, and the window sash upstairs is also beautiful. You can see all the way to the end of the street. It's neat and tidy. It's really nice. There was a plaque hanging above each small building. They didn't understand it, but they thought the writing was beautiful. I heard that it is the name of the store and the names of the 29 villages. They looked outside for a while before going into the shop. It turned out that each village took out the things from each village and sold them together. These things are also available in their villages and mountains. If only they had a shop too. Everyone's eyes glowed green. I thought to myself. Then he walked to another store with Yongfenghao written on it. As soon as we entered, everyone's eyes widened. Wow, there are so many things. Oil, salt, soy sauce and vinegar, rice, flour and other grains, as well as various farm tools, groceries, and cloth. When shopkeeper Ding saw Si Yuan coming with someone, he immediately greeted him with a smile. When I learned that they were from other villages and wanted to sell mountain products, I immediately became more enthusiastic. Just grab a few people and make an introduction. After hearing the prices of various mountain products, these people couldn't help but feel excited, and immediately wanted to turn around and go back to the village to pick out the mountain products. But seeing that there were many things they wanted to buy in the shop, they held back and started choosing in the shop. Everyone picked something. Prepare to take it back to the village. It's great. You can buy so many things without leaving this mountain. There is also salt for sale. I'll tell everyone when I get back. Shopkeeper Ding looked at the copper plate on the counter, smiled and said to Si Yuan, "Go back and tell your lady that this mountain man is willing to give up flowers." The day before the opening, shopkeeper Xiang of Suqingyu's own shop arrived with two young men who were literate and clever. The warehouse in the backyard is also cleaned, just waiting to receive the goods. Suqingnao ordered Xiang Zhen to put up a sign at the door of her shop saying that she was collecting wild animals, collecting fresh mushrooms, collecting mountain products, and collecting medicinal materials. The Yongfeng Express next door also had a sign saying it was accepting mountain goods. Both charges the same price. Shopkeeper Ding came out and saw, "Oh, there are more signs than him. Run over and take a closer look. Harvesting fresh mushrooms. Isn't it easy to save? Collect wild animals." Shopkeeper Ding put his chin in his hand and thought. He didn't think MRSU would collect wild animals to eat. But, what's the use of MRSU collecting wild animals? I'm afraid there will be another move. Gotta keep an eye on it. Madame Su has so many ideas. Their business will make a lot of money from the tea this spring. She also collects medicinal materials. Shopkeeper Ding couldn't help but slap his leg with his big palm. Their business also has a pharmacy and a medicine hall. Why didn't he think of collecting medicinal materials before? This vast mountain is full of medicinal materials. He and Manager Li only thought about mountain products, but forgot about the medicinal materials. No, I have to send someone to tell Manager Li. I'm sorry, MRSU, I'm going to steal business from you again. Suqingyu didn't know that her business was going to be robbed again. I only went to the shops in the 28 villages to check their stocking status. Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhjiaoye 11U. Chapter 260. Suqingyu was very pleasantly surprised by this. I haven't seen so many things in the past 2 days. How amazing is it that all the villages have collected so many things? Although most of them are similar, after all, living in a big mountain, resources are inevitable. But people are different, and their thoughts are different. For example, in Shehan village, in addition to various dried and smoked meats, their shops also sell many bamboo utensils. Bamboo baskets, bamboo dustpans, bamboo barrels, bamboo boxes, many with lids. Exquisitely made and beautiful. There are also various bamboo baskets, which can be carried on the back, and carried on the back. There are also bamboo mats, which are spread out to dry and sit on. They are available in various styles and sizes. They are hung everywhere and are very visible in the shop. The leader of Shuhan village felt proud when he saw Sukingyu's interested expression. Who told them that there are many masters of bamboo weaving in their village? Look at these exquisite baskets. The baskets made by others can only be used, but these can be used and displayed for viewing. How beautiful it is, all made up of colors and patterns. Not bad. It seems that someone in your village is good at this. Yes. There is a family in our village who is the best at this. I heard that I was collecting goods in the village to sell in the market. The family worked for several days to make it. The whole family will come to see it tomorrow. Very good. From now on, people with special skills like this will receive special treatment. That's for sure. After looking at several villages, there were all kinds of things made of bamboo, but they were not as exquisite and beautiful as those in Shuhan village. Some villages also hang various types of straw sandals, mats, various sun mats, bamboo woven straw ones, fans, and other items. There are also people in the village who are good at carpentry work, and the shops are equipped with many wooden furniture and farm tools, such as barrels, boxes, knife rests, tables, chairs, benches, scratches and other items. They are also common things. There are also those selling pots and jars and various pottery utensils, all kinds of furs, all kinds of farm tools, slingshots, wooden bows, all kinds of hemp ropes and other things for hunting prey. In Beijiazai, in addition to various dried meats, mushrooms, daylilies, and dried wild vegetables, there are also shrimps, dried fish, wild eggs, and other items. Beijiazai relies on mountains to eat, and there is usually no shortage of meat to eat, but after seeing Sukingyu and Xiao Baoyaya fishing for shrimps to eat, they also started to eat small shrimps and dried fish in the stream. I've eaten it a few times and it's really delicious. As a result, when Sukingyu and Ruyi took their two children to fish again, they could no longer see their shadows. In addition to these local products, Beijiazai certainly has its own characteristics. Just hanging a lot of gourds. Some are whole, some are cut in half to make gourds and scoops, and there are even brooms and feather dusters. The leader of Zongjai felt a little nervous when he saw Sukingyu smiling while watching. It's not easy to sell these, obviously every family needs them. No, every family needs it. The leader of Zongjai just breathed a sigh of relief when he heard her say again, I'm just afraid that someone else has it at home. She just said she didn't want to bring it, but Chiuer insisted on letting her put it on. Sukingyu smiled, it's good. I don't know about others. Ma Xian will definitely need it. Zongjai leader slapped his thigh, yes, why didn't I think of it? I'll talk to him later. Sukingyu turned around with a smile, saw Xiuer and Beisha following her, and glanced at their faces. Your grandpa asked you two to come and see the store. Xiuer nodded, Grandpa said let us hold on for the time being. Now that I can read, it's easier than others to look after the store. But he was worried about me being alone, so he asked Beisha to accompany me. You too. Sukingyu said and looked at their faces, is this done? Cypress scratched his head, when my family's first anniversary is over in the summer, we will get married. Sukingyu paused, it's been almost a year. He smiled at them and said, then you two should have a good life. If your two families merge into one family, your grandfather will be very happy. Why am I so happy? Zongjai leader ran over after packing his things. No, I told you to count the silver tomorrow. I'm afraid you'll be very happy. That's not the case. The bathhouse is open for trial business in the afternoon. Beishu, come with me. I've wanted to go there for a long time. I've been waiting for so many days. Okay, Grandpa, I've wanted to go too. Seeing that everyone seemed to be very interested, Suking Nao was also going to take Suking Liu and others to experience it for a while. After seeing what was displayed in each village, Suking Yu felt a little confident. Seeing that shopkeeper Ding was busy in various shops, he might have been keeping an eye on him for a long time. Seeing him smiling happily and walking around among the village owners, I am afraid that he will be able to collect a lot of good things and transport them out in the strip. If she hadn't stopped him, the village leaders would have brought their people to put the things out, and he would have taken them away. So will everyone come here tomorrow to take a look at the short store? No, you have to press it. When Suking returned to her small courtyard, she saw that Guo was already busy in the kitchen with several women. Before she even entered the yard, she could smell the fragrance of noodles outside. When I walked in, I saw two children holding the door frame and looking in, so I burst into laughter. The two children turned around and came back, drooling. Seeing it was her, he rushed towards her. Mother. Second aunt. Well, what are Xiaobao and Yaya looking at? Mom, it smells good, she said and drooled. A little bit greedy. Second aunt, mother, and the others are making cakes in the house. They smell so good. They don't let us in. Bad, don't let us in, Xiaobao pouted and complained. You will cause trouble if you go in. Be good. Don't make trouble. But it will burn you, Suking comforted the two children. Yaya was very sensible and stopped talking. Xiaobao still pouted and said he was obedient and good. Okay, let me take you in and have a look. Okay, the two clapped their hands happily. Suking shop is emptier than those in other villages. Although she is mainly focused on receiving goods at this stage, when opening a shop, she also needs to sell some of her own things. And since she will open tomorrow, she is afraid that there will be a huge flow of people in the next few days. Do not miss it. Who still thinks money bites your hand or something? Ms. Guo and she both knew how to make pastries, so she asked Mr. Guo to bring a few women over to make pastries and prepare them to be sold in the shop tomorrow. We are not afraid that people will not be able to afford it. They make ordinary cakes and sell them at a low price. Moreover, everyone has some savings from selling mountain products and tea, so they should be willing to eat them. Secondly, many people in the mountains have never been out, and they have probably never seen what the cakes outside look like. There will be curiosity. Buy some for the elderly and children at home, firstly to open their eyes and secondly to sweeten their mouths. When you come here, you always bring something back for the children and the elderly at home. Suking planned to make several kinds of pastries and maltos to sell. But I don't plan to do more, after all, my purchasing power may be limited. As soon as Suking walked into the kitchen with her two children, a pot of cake came out of the oven. Sweet and fragrant. The two children immediately stood on tiptoe and looked into the steamer. Make everyone laugh. I gave a piece to Xiaobao and Yaya, and the two of them ate it and said incense. Eat with a smile on your face. Everyone present also picked up a piece and tried it. It was really soft and fragrant. Successful. It will be easy to sell tomorrow, Lu was very confident. Seeing Suking nodding her head after eating, Ms. Guo felt relieved. Everyone tried several kinds of pastries and became more confident about tomorrow's business. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bhaya 11U. Chapter 261. They made a lot of cakes to try, and Suking sent some to Ma Xian. The barracks have been built, and the village owners sent people to help. In addition to building the barracks, they also helped them open a piece of land to grow grain and vegetables. With a sweet smell and a sense of anger, everyone packed up and headed to the bathroom. After everyone took a comfortable hot bath in the bathroom, they felt comfortable all over. After I came back, I still thought about it and made an appointment to go again tomorrow. Slept extremely soundly at night. It opened the next day and everyone got up early. Sukingneo didn't sleep in, so she got up early and went to the shop. Walking all the way there, I found that the restaurants and inns were all open, and there were many people sitting there. Ordered breakfast. The aroma of food can be smelled from afar. It seems that Guo and Xiang Zhenxian have good management staff. When we arrived at the main street, we saw that the village owners had gotten up early, the shops were all open, and the village owners were ordering their boys in the shops. Sukingyu didn't bother him and turned around and entered his shop. In the shop, Lingfeng, Gu Xiangzhen and others were also busy early. After a while, Si Yuan brought them breakfast. He also told Sukingneo that many people were waiting outside the gate of the market town before dawn. There were people from the 28 villages, as well as people from other villages who came from various places after getting the news, all carrying baskets on their backs. Sukingyu told him, "Go to Ma Xian and ask him to arrange more people to watch everywhere today. If anything happens, come and report it immediately." Yes, he responded. After the village owners finished their work in their own shops, they all came to Suqing's shop to observe. It was quite empty. Also, there are only a few people in Xinjianzai. And they are still busy building a stronghold. But when Ms. Guo and her people brought all kinds of cakes over, everyone smelled the aroma of cakes before they were placed, and they became hungry again after having just had breakfast. Look again, what kind of cakes are these? They are so beautiful, I have never seen them before. It looks good and smells good. Another slap on the thigh, why didn't they think of selling food? I heard that many people from other villages came here at night, fearing that they would have to eat dry food all the way. If they had a bowl of hot noodle soup or hot pancakes to eat, they would definitely pay for it. President, you are not kind. Didn't remind us. Sukingyu ignored their inner xiaojiju. Has the village owner on duty today gone to the mobile stall? I heard from village owners today that there are people in each village picking things to sell, and I am afraid they will rent mobile stalls. Go there early to guard. That's good. Before Sukingyu could speak to everyone here, he suddenly saw many people walking towards the main street from a distance. Someone is coming, someone is coming. Go back quickly. When the village owners saw that guests were coming, they were excited and nervous, and ran to each shop one after another. They haven't opened a store to sell the goods yet, how fresh it is. You have to go back and keep an eye on the young people, where can they sell goods better than them? After a while, Sukingyu was also surrounded by enthusiastic mountain people from all villages. Ms. Su, do you always accept the things on the sign? We didn't bring it today, can we send it over tomorrow? Ms. Su, are you really collecting fresh mushrooms, fresh wild animals, and medicinal materials? Yes, we will always have people here to collect them. Miss, there are no more pastries. Si Yuan. Hey, I'll go back and get it right away. Si Yuan got out of the crowd and ran towards the courtyard. Sukingyu had expected that there would be many people on the day the store opened, but she did not expect that there would be so many people. Are all the people from the 28 villages mobilized? I heard that dozens of stalls at the mobile stalls were fully rented, and those who came late could only share a stall with others, and many people spread their goods on the ground. Originally, Sukingyu set up a mobile stall in a remote area because she didn't want everyone to leave their goods on the ground, which would be dirty and difficult to take care of. Unexpectedly, dozens of stalls were not enough. There was one more thing she hadn't expected. It's just that the restaurants were sold out early. She thought that everyone was reluctant to eat and drink, but she didn't expect that everyone would grab a bowl of noodles and porridge for 2 or 3 cents. The tea shop is also full of people. The person who made the fire never left the stove. The village owners felt regretful at this, so they should send some people to sell food. How can you not make money by selling hot food and rice? Aren't you quite willing to eat it? Some shrewd mountain people who lived nearby immediately returned to the village and moved the kitchen staff over. The whole family came to help, found an open space, and started selling food. Not long after the sale started, everything I brought was sold out. The family was so happy that they found a deserted place to count coins. Sukingyu and all the village leaders were speechless. Halfway up the mountainside, I looked down at the market town in the valley below. It was densely packed with people. This is just like the animals in the mountains hibernating throughout the winter and coming out to look for food in spring. The mountain people in this mountain usually stay in the mountain and don't go out. They heard that there is chaos outside and they are all eating people, so they don't dare to run out. As soon as they learned that there was a market town in the mountains, everyone was curious and new, and families came to see it. Many people have never been out of the mountains in their lives, and even come all the way to see the wonders. President, isn't our market town a bit small? It's a bit small. Look at the main street, it's almost too crowded to move around. President, are you calling people from each village to do the second phase? Sukinjeo was also shocked by the flow of people today. She thought that for a small market town, Ma Xian's 50 people were a bit too much. But now, 50 people are not enough. Let's wait and see. It's only the first day of opening. Everyone is coming out to see the wonder. I'm afraid there won't be so many people in the future. A village owner shook his head. This is the only place in the mountains where you can walk around, buy and sell, and I'm afraid there will be a lot of people. Let's take a look first. If you all run out, will the store be too busy? The village leaders slapped their thighs. Go back quickly, don't let those brats mess things up. It wasn't until sunset that people in the market town dispersed. But there are still many mountain people who have traveled a long way to rest in the inn. The bathroom was also overcrowded. Normally everyone is frugal, and inns and baths are not expensive, so everyone is still willing to spend a few coppers. Sukingyu had been busy all day and saw shopkeeper Ding on the main street. She pulled him over and asked him about it. Ms. Su, I hate that I don't have 3 heads and 6 arms. This man is surrounding me and I can't get away. It seems that Manager Li and I both miscalculated before. There is no market in this mountain. This is simply worse than when it was prosperous. Renzhou City is so powerful. I have to send him a message. Without saying a few words to Sukingyu, he ran away in a hurry. Sukingneo took a look in her shop, but Xiangzhen and others were too busy to talk to her. She turned around and returned to her small courtyard. I invited Ma Xian to have dinner with him in the small courtyard and asked him about the situation today. After listening to what he said, it seems that the personnel distribution is a bit tight today. Yes, I didn't expect so many people to come today. But our people are all equipped with swords and arrows, so no one dares to make any mistakes. I'm afraid there will be a lot of people these days. I'll transfer some people from Xinjianzai to assist you. That's okay. The two agreed, and Sukingyu asked Xi Yuan to call someone. Madam, she has a tender heart. Author, Bha Jiaoye 11U. Chapter 262. On the second and third days, the flow of people did not decrease at all, but increased. Read. Probably because of the publicity from people who went back the first day, more and more people started carrying things on their backs in exchange for money from the second day on. Sukingyu and Yangfenggeo's shop are surrounded by people every day. The mountain people waiting to sell goods formed a long queue outside the two shops with their burdens. The Yongfenghao also sold daily groceries. Seeing that it was no longer possible to do business, he bought a shop from Sukingyu for the purpose of receiving goods. Sukingyu thought for a while and moved the goods to the shop next to Yongfeng. Everyone receives the same goods, the price is the same, and they are all together, making it easier to manage. Then he moved Ling Fenggu to another shop and named it Huayantang, which later became a medicine hall and clinic. Let him collect the medicinal materials there, and he can treat some minor illnesses, but serious illnesses have to wait for a doctor. The wonderful thing is that her old lady can treat some women's diseases, so she recruited the couple and put them in Huayan Hall. Slowly, the news spread, and people came to see him and his wife one after another. Not long after, Ling Fenggu came looking for him. "Master, please find a doctor quickly. I can't bear it anymore. There are some diseases that I really can't treat." Seeing everyone coming all the way over the mountains and ridges, and then going back with disappointed faces, I feel so sad. I hate myself for not studying medicine before. Okay, I understand. Su Qingnao was also worried. She also couldn't stand the way people would come looking forward to something, then turn around and leave with a disappointed look on their face. I was so tortured by the illness that I had no shape. I came here with great expectations, but I had to endure the pain and leave. She couldn't see this. There is no news from Mr. Pei, there is no response to the letter sent by Ling Fenggu, and there is no news from Dr. Xiao Song in Fengcheng. Why is it so difficult to find a doctor to come to the mountains? She also hated herself for not studying Chinese medicine. I hope that a doctor who can help people in distress will be willing to come to the mountains to treat the poor mountain people. I felt anxious, but since the market town was open to the public, I couldn't ignore it. Then I woke up and looked around in the market town. It seems that the village owners have sold a lot of goods in the past few days, and everyone is counting copper coins with smiles on their faces. There were more people selling food on the street, and there were a bunch of diners gathered in front of each stall. It seems that no matter where it is, there is a market for it in snack streets and so on. It is absolutely correct to say that food is the most important thing for the people. The shopkeeper and waiters in the bathroom were also too busy to get away. The tea shop was also full of people. The extra tables and chairs were placed on the street, but it was still full of people. It seems that everyone's favorite pastime is to sit together and talk about the mountains and listen to others talk about the mountains and rivers. Ma Xian's escort patrolled various neighborhoods, and everyone stayed away from them. No one dared to make any mistakes. There was order on the streets. The mobile stalls sell everything, and there is a huge market for them. Su Qingliu, Lu, Ruyi, and others like to go there the most. I take Xiaobao and Yaya there to visit every day, and I always buy a lot of good things. The Guo family has also led people to transport all kinds of fresh mushrooms and fresh beast meat back to Xinjianzai to start production. Everything is in order, except for a doctor. So lacking. Su Qingnao was thinking about the doctor when she slept at night. I don't know if there will be a response if I really miss it. The next day, Si Yuan came back from Fengcheng and brought her a surprise. Dr. Xiao Song's junior brother said that he is his father's proud disciple, and his family is willing to come and live in the mountains. Where are the people? Outside. When Su Qingyu heard this, she grabbed her shoes and ran out. There was a family of 4 in the yard, an old couple and a pair of grandchildren. Carrying the luggage on my back, it was dusty. She thought Dr. Xiao Song's junior brother was a young man, but she didn't expect him to be an old man in his 50s or 60s. "Hello, old man." He is very experienced. Everything is fine, as long as he is a doctor. "Hello, hello, I'm Su Qingyu. Ms. Su. Sit in the house, sit in the house." The doctor's surname is Mu, his wife is Mu Wen, his grandson is older, Mu Kongqing, 13 years old, and his granddaughter Mu Qingdai is 11 years old. "Why do your family want to come to our mountains? Although it is safer than outside, it is also closed off." Hearing Su Qingyu's question, the old man said nothing. He looks like a man of few words. The old lady said, "We originally had a son who was good at surgery and orthopedics and was better than his father in medicine. but he was arrested and sent to the army. There were letters sent a few years ago, but now we don't know the news. Many of our doctors have been arrested and sent to the army. The old man was afraid that I could not take care of 2 children, so he took us to the south to join his master. Then why don't you stay in Fengcheng? It's not just a place to stay. It's nice to be in the mountains. When I entered the market town, I thought it was a small rural market. I didn't expect there were so many people. It took us a long time to walk for a short distance. The town is also well built. It has to be stylish. Sukinjao was a little embarrassed. It's just a small market town. In order to facilitate the mountain people to trade with each other, it was built to have a place to move around. It has only been opened in the past few days, and there are more talents. I also left a medicine hall there. The mountain people thought that there was a doctor sitting in the hall. I climbed mountains and ridges to see a doctor, but I didn't expect that there was only an old man collecting medicinal materials, so I went back with a disappointed look on my face. You don't know, there was no doctor in the mountains before. There were dozens of villages in this mountain. When people got sick, they just picked some herbs and boiled them to eat. If they got better, they were lucky. If they didn't, they would just go up the mountain and wait for death. These few days, I saw them looking forward to it, enduring the pain and climbing mountains and crossing rivers to come, and then returning with disappointment. I felt bad. Dr. Mu stood up. Where is the medicine hall? Ah. You ask someone to take me there. Go now. Let's eat first. Suqing'an was a little stunned. The old man didn't say anything and stood there stubbornly. The old lady smiled and said to her, "This old man is a stubborn person, let him go." Suqing'an called someone to take him there. She also asked Lu and Suqingliu to cook for the family quickly. Her granddaughter Muqingde stood up, "I'll go and help." No, how could she let the invited guests help? The old lady smiled and said, "Let her go. My granddaughter is very skillful. We are all thanks to her at home and outside." Suqingmei breathed a sigh of relief. Thankful. She shouted, "Yeah yeah." The sound of footsteps came running, second aunt. Then she heard footsteps running over, "Mother." Suqingmei let the 2 of them meet the old lady first, and then said, "Can you take your sister around our courtyard? And also around the courtyard gate?" "Okay." Second aunt, "I can also take your sister to the market town. I know the way and won't get lost." Suqingmei thought about it, and then let Ruyi follow behind, and took Muqingde and Mukongqing out for a walk. Suqingmei chatted with Mu Wenqi. "You don't know how much I look forward to a doctor coming. My eyes are green with anticipation." Suqingmei was quite emotional. The old lady could imagine the situation. We also heard that there was no doctor in the mountains and it was difficult for the mountain people to see a doctor, so my old man said he wanted to come. "Thank you so much, I thank you on behalf of the mountain people in the mountains for coming." "Well, why are you saying that?" "We are just looking for a place to stay. The doctor and his family are here, and the backyard of the medicine hall may not be able to accommodate them." Suqingmei called people to find some people to start work and build a small courtyard for Ma Xian's family not far from the barracks. After the instructions were given, the food was ready. Mukongqing and Muqingde went out for a while, and their faces were no longer restrained. They talked and laughed with Ruyi and the 2 children when they entered the house, which made Mu Wenqi feel relieved.